The Tennessee Williams Festival St. Louis has brought us a special treat outside of its annual celebration of the playwright. Executive Artistic Director Carrie Houck arranged for the National Drama Company of Ghana to make St. Louis the first stop on its current American tour with their production of Tennessee Williams' 10 Blocks on the Camino Real. 10 Blocks is not a well-known play. Williams wrote it in 1946, and it was workshopped 3 years later at the Actors Studio. He expanded it in 1953 for a Broadway production that dropped the 10 blocks on from the title. Camino Real had a brief run. Reviewers and audiences didn't know what to make of it. They had by then applauded Williams for Glass Menagerie, Streetcar, The Rose Tattoo, and Summer and Smoke, all written and played as realism. 10 Blocks is anything but. Symbolism probably names it best. The Camino Real is the high road, the royal road, the road of life. It ends in the plaza of a poor, desiccated Mexican village where the fountain is dry. A desperately thirsty man pleads for water from Mr. Gutman, proprietor of the Hotel Siete Mares. He is named after Sidney Greenstreet's character in The Maltese Falcon. The hotel has no water but abundant wine for sale. The man appeals to a policeman who tires of his annoyance and shoots him. 3 street sweepers who patrol the Camino carry him off. Kilroy comes into the plaza, thirsty, hungry, tired from a long walk from wherever he came from. In World War II, Kilroy was the mythical figure whose name had been chalked up on walls in towns when victorious American soldiers entered. Kilroy was here, it said. Somehow, Kilroy always got there first. Williams Kilroy might have been one of those soldiers. He's a young American in a Navy sailor's cap, wearing golden gloves around his neck and a championship belt. But his heart is swollen, as big as a baby's head, and his doctors have told him he no longer can safely box or have sex. Pickpockets lift what money he has, and he can do little but wander about while the street sweepers wait for the inevitable. But he's not ready to give up. He talks to the gypsy reading cards in the plaza. Then the town celebrates the monthly fiesta, which restores the virginity of the gypsy's daughter Esmeralda, who shares the name of the gypsy in Hugo's Hunchback of Notre Dame. Kilroy pursues her, she is coy. When Marguerite Gautier, that's Camille, and Casanova appear on the hotel's veranda, we realize that Williams is rating the literary tradition for the great lovers who have reached the end of the road. Casanova is drinking the dregs of a wasted life, and Marguerite has outlived the tenderness of my heart. Eventually, the street sweepers get Kilroy, but when the coroner opens his chest and removes his heart, it not only is as big as a baby's head, it is pure gold. He comes back to life, and he and Casanova wander off together to the next God-forsaken place. Each scene in the play is a block on the Camino Real, and one of the cast members counts off each of the 10 as we enter it. The connections between them are minimal, mostly Kilroy, who's in most but not all, the locale, and the ever-present threat of death. The Ghanaians, in their production, directed by the American David Kaplan, use the script of Tennessee Williams, spoken in fairly heavily accented English, not always easy to follow, and they intersperse it with Ghanaian songs appropriate to the block we are on. A drummer accompanies everything. Kilroy, Casanova, Marguerite, and Gutman wear Western clothes. The gypsies wear a traditional Ghanaian dress. The street sweepers are in black with skull masks. They form a kind of chorus hanging around the block, breaking into song and dance. Given the free form of 10 blocks on the Camino Real, it's a good choice for this kind of cross-cultural staging, as poetic and imaginative as Williams' script.
Well, Bob, as so often happens on this program, I feel very privileged to be the first to hear your learned explanation of a very difficult play. In fact, I wish I could see it again after I've heard what you've said.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid the Ghanaians are not going to be, they've probably already left town, actually. I think they are doing a tour of the country. But it was, fascinating that somehow they found this piece, which is not easy to find, and decided that this is what they wanted to do.